The black community suffers from the worst health disparities. The Minister of Wellness Ministries is the only pro-black Bible-based health ministry of its kind. We teach biblical health principles that can eradicate obesity and disease. We have everything you need to feel better than you've ever felt in your life. Act now to get your biblical health ebook and DVD, both for free. TheMinisterofWellness.com, TheMinisterofWellness.com.
So that was a brother out of Philadelphia who was exonerated this year after he served 31 years behind bars on a wrongful murder convictions. 25 years on death row, has now enlisted civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump and is suing Philadelphia for $100 million. Now, $100 million is not enough, in my opinion, to have 31 years of your life taken away from you. Now, Christopher Williams, now 61, was released from prison in February after the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office Conviction Integrity Unit re-examined his cases and concluded that he had been railroaded into convictions on 4 murder charges dating back to 1989. Man. It says authorities found evidence of prosecutorial misconduct that included secret deals to get witnesses to lie in court and evidence that was hidden from the defense after what became a total of 6 murder charges brought against him following his arrest in 1989. This is why I always say in my videos, and that's why I preach in my videos, that these people have no moral compass to be in leadership and power of anything. I say that because this is what they keep doing. When you have that much hatred in your heart for a group of people, you can't be in leadership. It don't matter who you are. If you have a hatred for people and you in leadership, you're not a good steward of leadership, because you can't treat people different based off of the color of their skin. But as long as you live in this land, and as long as these people are still in control of it, it's going to be that way. Because as I told y'all before, they don't know how to be any other way. And I've told y'all, if you want to see America get better, they got to get out of leadership. They got to get out of 3 places. They got to get out of law enforcement. If they in it, they have to be the minority in it, right? They need to be out of politics in all aspects of it. They need to get out of the, definitely, not controlling the military. They don't need to be controlling the money. You understand? And also the situation with the criminal justice system, with the courts and the prosecutors and the judges. As long as they control all those things I just mentioned, you're going to always have this. There's no reform with that. There's no reform. There's nothing you could, listen, they got laws on the books against this sort of thing. And I told y'all before, what they should do every time they catch this, they should go lock that prosecutor up. Give that prosecutor them 31 years. And maybe they wouldn't be doing this, but they don't do anything. Now I say on Wednesday, December the 1st, the brother, his name is clear. It says stood beside his lawyers at a news conference and announced a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that names the city, the Philadelphia Police Department, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, as well as 17 police detectives and their estates. It's 2 former assistant district attorneys and former district attorney Lynn Abraham as defendants. All coordinated to lock up a black man. This is what they do. Now the brother said, I didn't go to weddings. I didn't see childbirths. He said, you're talking about 25 grandchildren. I didn't see none of them come into the world. Think about that. You're sitting in prison and you didn't do anything. Could you imagine how something like that would feel? The brothers' ordeal started back in December 16, 1989, when the 29-year-old Williams was a carpenter and a father of 5, was arrested on charges of murder after a witness implicated him in the June 1989 shooting death of a 19-year-old man. Now, some 14 months later, in February 1991, a prosecutor added charges in the November 1989 slaying of 19-year-old Michael Hainsworth, who was found bound, beaten, and shot in his car. Now, by the summer of 1993, Williams will be charged with 4 more murders, including the February 1989 slaying of a cab driver The September 1989 shootings of 3 reputed drug dealers whose bodies were dumped on streets just hours apart. Shoot, it could be the police murdering them people. You know how they are. They say the chief witness against him and several co-defendants in all of the crimes was a man who knew Williams from the neighborhood, James White. Now, he was first arrested on charges of murder for killing Hainsworth, the victim used to date White's girlfriend. They say in December 1989, White ultimately would plead guilty to all 6 slayings and agreed to cooperate, with the prosecution at that time. It said anyone that he would implicate in exchange for leniency. So Williams was convicted at a trial in 1992. They said murdering Hainsworth, although he was acquitted at a trial in 1993 of killing the cab driver. At the same trial, he was convicted in a triple slaying. Those convictions got him sentenced to death row. White testified at the trial that he and his co-defendants tricked the 3 drug dealers into going into a Philadelphia housing project so they can buy some illegal guns. Once there, he alleged that they stuck the dealers up for $26,000 and made them get into a van. After the men who were in the vehicle, he said they shot the men execution style and disposed of their bodies in various locations around the city. Now, years later, in 2013, he recanted his story about the triple murders. He claimed that the prosecutor had provided him with information about the case and coerced him into testifying against the defendants. This happened a lot to black people. This happens a lot. He said now, since he recanted, he said he did not help Williams then, but by February 2019, as his appeal lawyers continued to press his case, he said District Attorney Larry Kranzer reviewed the case through the Conviction Integrity Unit and discovered evidence that proved Williams and co-defendant Theophilus Wilson had been wrongfully convicted. So the CIU chief, Patricia Cummings, commented in the filings of the investigation after the triple slaying case unraveled. Now, they said that we believe that there are indeed Brady, which is referring to the Supreme Court ruling requiring the prosecution to turn over evidence of defense violations. They said we find that to be incredibly troubling. Of course it's troubling. But this is what they like to do anyway. Now, I say after Williams was exonerated of triple murders in 2019, the Hainsworth conviction still stood against him. It wasn't until February of this year that the Philadelphia Common Pleas Court Judge Tracy Brandis Roman tossed out the 4th conviction against Williams, and he could go home. So think, this brother lost all those years of his life. My God, I just shake my head at that. It said the DA's office agreed that White and at least one other key witness in the Williams trial for Hainsworth slaying were compromised and not credible. Now, they say that the current theory of the cases is that White alone killed the 6 people and just said that Williams masterminded the play to get less time. The files show that in 1989, police believed Williams to be running a crew that robbed drug dealers, and he was in their sights. They said Williams, after maintaining his innocence all along, has been exonerated and now seeking financial restitution for the years that he lost. Now, Benjamin Crump suggests that his case should be seen as a historical, teachable moment for America. It's not no teachable moment at all. It's just standard operating procedure they do to target black people. Because you have to understand that this so-called criminal justice system, if it was like that with everybody, you see people of all groups in the jail like that. But why do they only target black men? Black men are a small demographic in America, okay? So they do that on purpose. Now, I say a lawyer for the suggests, although Williams was only convicted of 4 of the 6 murders, that his exoneration is historic because the length of time he served in prison and on death row. Now, he continues to say Chris Williams is almost like the symbol for wrongful conviction of black men in America. So they say we have to be better than this. They are never going to be better than this because that's just who they are. We have to accept that. Now, they're saying we cannot continue to let racism cloud our judgment. It's not clouding my judgment. It's theirs. They say when it comes to not even just wrongful convictions, but administering justice, they don't know how to give justice out. Only when they're doing it for their people, though. Let me repeat that. Oh, they can do all kind of justice. They let them get away with all kind of crimes. They let them do that. So they said Williams' son Chris, it said nephew and others around him, they held up signs echoing the sentiment. Now, the price Williams has set is $100 million in damages, and that brother should get every dime plus interest, okay? But even getting $100 million, it don't give you 31 years of your life back. And all these years, you've been labeled as a murderer for something you did not do. This is why these people need to burn in hell with gasoline draws on for the things they have done to black people. They really do. They need to burn in hell. Seriously. They need their whole lineage cursed. They do. They need their finances cursed. They deserve all that. They do. How they treated black people. But you notice when you talk about this situation with this virus, America just crossed over 800,000 people that lost their lives to this virus. But yet these people say they're so smart. But yet you're almost close to 200,000 away from 1 million people. You've done the worst with this virus in the whole world. The worst. And the only reason a lot of black people who passed away, because they have taken on your ways by not listening and paying attention to some things. They want to follow you and do what you say. And that's why sometimes we get into trouble. Understand what I'm saying? But they can't keep doing things like this to black people. This is why their world is crashing in on them. Brian Williams with NBC, he just recently retired, but he made an interesting statement in his last broadcast. He said that America is burning with the people inside of it. That's what he says. So even Brian Williams realized this place is not in the position that it once was. This place is spiraling down. And it don't matter if it's a Democrat in there. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican in there. What the problem is that racism, white supremacy can no longer stand. Either you do things the right way and treat God's children right, or you're not going to have a country. You're not even have the quote unquote West anymore. Because look at it, Africans are even starting to stand up against you. You already know what China's doing. People in the Middle East were standing up against you. People getting tired. They're getting tired. And you know why they're getting tired? Because you've done it for too long. Everybody knows what you've done to black people. Everybody knows. And this is why the just due is coming. And all you got to do, black folks, you ain't got to do nothing but sit back and watch. Because trust me, every year it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We're coming up on 2022. It's going to be great for the black people that did what's right and moving in what they're supposed to be moving in. But the people that want to stay tied at the hip with these people, you're going to suffer with them. Because the thing is, the Lord is angry with them. Because what they have done his children for so long, over and over and over and over again, this has happened. Over and over, these people has conspired to do this to black people, especially black men, taking a father away from his family and leaving his children, with no father and in a single mother situation. You understand? Oh, these people got to deal with God's anger. God's anger is kindled against them. You could believe it or not, but God's anger is against them. Because he's given them so many years to repent and get it right, and they chose not to. So this is why you better back off and stay out their way, unless you get the same judgment that they receive. I'm talking about black folks. Because I know sometimes how some of you think, you look at them like they gods, but I'm telling you, your God can't help himself right now. Not whatsoever. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation with our brother here. Like I said, these stories just anger me. But I cover them because you really need to know the evil that these people do to black people.
Colonization never ended in the white supremacist system. And as we see today, the colonization is in the mind. Now, those who have been enslaved and those who have been colonized, we're still dealing with the remnants of that through the colonization of the mind. Pick up my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, and we will help deprogram you from the colonization that was put upon you by generations and generations of white supremacy. You can pick it up today on Amazon.com.